Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much for the invitation. It's an honor and pleasure to be here. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, I was blessed and honored to visit the blessed land, so I'll share with you some of the experiences and these moments. Of course, being a physician and surgeon, it's not a secret that the healthcare is totally collapsed in Gaza, and there is very targeted attacks on children and women. 70% of the casualties are civilians, and unfortunately, there is very clear attacks on the hospital and the infrastructure. It's very difficult for surgeons and physicians to practice with no sheets, no mattresses, no sutures, no equipment whatsoever. The ambulances are getting attacked, and I think it's an aim to, no journalists are going in, so no information, no news can come out. The healthcare is destroyed, so the people are being pushed out. This is the Rafah border where we crossed in the first time in December, and this is, of course, is gone now since it's been attacked in May. I apologize, there is lots of pictures that have bad scenes, so I'm gonna try to skip them as quick as I can. This is an example of 11 years old who had shrapnel into his left atrium. He was almost dead when we saw him in the ER, but subhanAllah, miraculously, we were able to get this little piece of shrapnel out of the left atrium, and it's a miracle that he survived, and this is happening every day over there. This is an example of a 9-year-old who works as an X-ray technician in the ICU, and don't ask me where did he get trained or where did he get, he's not even paid, of course, he's just doing this as a volunteer, and he's only 9 years old. This is an example of one of the neurosurgical residents. She's a third-year resident back on the, as my friend David from Duke University. He was impressed by her ability to do craniotomies, opening the skull of patients and doing spinal fixations, fixing the back of the patients daily from 7 a.m. to 1 a.m. And she has a 7-month-old boy and a 2.5-year-old girl. And this is the attack that happened on Nasser Hospital back in December, I believe. And subhanAllah, in the side here, you see the rocket where it entered. There was a 13-year-old girl with bilateral amputation of her both legs. And her family were killed in Gaza. And she always used to tell the nursing staff, I wish that I was killed with them. And subhanAllah, the rocket came, it didn't explode. It just went directly into her head and killed her in the hospital bed. This is how they wake up every morning. They have this warning in Arabic, and it goes into the phones. It goes to an Amber Alert, like it actually came to my own personal phone. Any phone that's working there, you receive this message, go from here to there, go from here to there. And of course, during this month and the year past, there's people who have moved and been displaced 10 or 15 times. In my last trip in August, we were going to visit Khan Yunis and Nasser Hospital, and there was an order that day for people to evacuate from Khan Yunis, and you can see as if, subhanAllah, as if it's in Hajj or the Day of Judgment, subhanAllah, the roads are full of people who are carrying whatever they can carry. They don't have time to take anything with them. Whatever they can grab, and they just look for any place to find in the open space and consider it home. This is how they live in the hospital with all these sheets that you see. These are their homes, basically, that you see on the screen. And this is, of course, an example of the pollution. And on the last trip, the Ministry of Health tested the water, and the WHO sent lots of experts to test the water, and they found 6 out of 7 samples that are positive for polio. And I'm sure you heard this in the news. In the north, the northern part of Gaza, hepatitis A is endemic. With the dehydration and the amount of the months where there was no food going in, they stayed for 3 months eating the animal food. And I met physicians and surgeons and healthcare workers who this has been the regular type of food every day. They lost 20 or 25 kilograms. This is how the kids stand in line every day to get water for their families. And this is an example of how this is the washroom that was used by the visiting team, and it basically has just a tiny slip of water. I'm going to skip this because it's very bad, but this is basically his brother who came in with, he was under the rubble for 8 days, and you can see his face. I can go back to the picture quickly, but you can tell that his face is totally destroyed. I was impressed. The anesthetist was able to put an endotracheal tube to give him anesthesia, and we were all impressed. How was he alive, and how was he trapped all this time, and how was his spirit at that time? And subhanAllah, he said that he had yaqeen, and he was connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during all these 8 days, and he was making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save him. And he said, "Oh Allah, save me from this, the same way you saved Yunus from the stomach of the whale, and you saved Joseph from the well." And he said, "I was sure that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will let me out." This is the Shifa Hospital, and this is an example of this woman. She saw the clothes of her child. She found the clothes of her son in front of Shifa Hospital. And this is called Qasr al-Basha. It's a 500-year well-known. Of course, the destruction is not only to the healthcare facilities and anything that has a history. Lots of churches were destroyed as well. This is the northern part of Gaza, immediately after Netzarim border. We just passed the checkpoint and going to past the war Kuwaiti. Now you can see the destruction of the area. This is on the right side of the screen here. You see the Public Affairs Hospital. And this is, you can see the destruction. It's totally gone. And I was impressed that they told me that you will be able to renovate this in 3 days. This is the attack on Ma'madani Hospital, which is the mass graves
the graveyard
that happened early October.
Baptist Hospital. It was attacked by MSL in early war.
This is an example of an 8-year-old kid, Zakaria, who told his dad that the war will be over on day 74. He saw a dream that the war will be over, and on day 73, he asked his dad, "If I get killed, would I see the Prophet ﷺ?" And his dad answered yes. So a rocket came on day 74, and he went with the Prophet ﷺ. This is an example of two. Hussein Matar is a paramedic who was killed in Khan Yunis, and he saw a dream of this 2 days prior to his to the attack. And this is a sister that was, her body was totally gone. They were only able to find her forehead, and she happened to be blonde. They found some of her hair. And this is what they put in the operating room in Shuhada Al-Aqsa Hospital. Here we steadfast, here we will continue, and we will not give up. And they put the azkar, and they put the story, with face painting the night before Eid, that Gaza is a story with dreams that will rise from under the rubble. This is my colleague getting them Barney for the kids. And this is an example of how they do the celebration of Laylat al-Qadr despite the destruction. And this is the Quran classes after a day of work for the kids in Kamal Udwan Hospital. And this is the parties that were done the night of 27 in the north and the night of 29th of Ramadan in the south for Sard al-Quran, to finish. Those who memorize the Quran, they finish it in one setting from Al-Fatiha to An-Nas. And this is the medical students who told me, one of them told me, "Sorry, I'm not going to help you tomorrow in surgery because I have an exam." I'm like, "What exam? There's no university, there is no faculty of medicine, there is no medical school, there is no nothing." And he said, "The dean decided 2 months ago that we're going to go back to school. We're not going to wait for the war to finish." And this is one example of one of the engineering students who finished the Quran in one setting. And this is what they put for themselves and for the world to know. Gaza, we promise we will rebuild it. So I think there is a lot for us to learn from them, and we'll keep this for the panel discussion. جزاكم الله خيرا. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم.